گل گلدون من شکسته در باد.
So come. Yes, you sit down. And you, I can tell you want to hear the story. Okay? Well, I will tell you first how I make the vine leaves. First, you must take the rice, and then you take the vegetables and the meat. I was making them the day that I left. Some people make them in a different way. Some people think it's very important to put the tomatoes and onions and parsley in first. But I like to make them very special. I put a little bit of coffee in the mixture and a tiny bit of vinegar. Because my mother did, and her mother did before her. And always we have lived in the same town, making the same vine leaves. And there were competitions for who would make the best ones on the road. But I knew mine were the most delicious. Can you smell them? I have them in the oven. I can smell the tomato sauce bubbling and heating. I had just put them in that night. I had made them very carefully because it was my daughter's birthday. Rose was going to be 10. And we had presents for her. And although we knew things were bad outside, we did not know how bad. And so I put them in the oven. And I closed the door. And that's when the dragons came. First, we could hear the rumbling, as if there was a great fire in their belly. And then the heat came. And it was as if they had torn apart the sky and flung down great clouds upon us. Boom, boom, boom. And their claws were at the door, and the claws were on the ground. And so we knew it was time. We had thought about it for a long time, my family and I, but this time the dragons were so close. We knew we had to go. I gave Rose 10 minutes, and she put all of her things in a bag. The passports were the most important. And the money, we had kept it under the bed. And then we forgot about the vine leaves. We wrapped up our heads and we ran. And so we ran from the dragons. We ran out of our lives, out of everything we knew. We ran, and we ran. It was such a long journey. I need to see it in my mind. Who can help me? Yes, we can draw it here. Okay, so from the town where I came from, there was a big tower and a big clock at the top of the tower. And then, when our house was taken by the dragons, we went to another house to stay with some friends. But the dragons, they came there as well with all of their fire and their noise. So we ran to a place near the hills. And there we had a little tent. And there was the metal fence all around us. But the dragons followed us there. And this time, they were heavier and angrier than before, and they tore everything to pieces. And so we ran, and we ran, and we ran. And then the dragons, they sent us things from the sky, all of the fire and the burning. And every place we went to in our country was not safe. So we had to travel to a new land. Places with different names: Lebanon, Egypt, Turkey, Jordan. These were places where the metal fences were higher and higher and higher. And I knew that there was no life for my daughter Rose here. So, with the little money that we had left, we took a boat. He took a boat over the sea in the dark. And I can't imagine all of the things which were underneath us, but there were many. And so we came to France. Can you draw it? Can you see? We were exhausted. That is when we came to the camp. When we get to France, it is different. We travel far up to the north, and there is a camp. There are many people. There are high walls, and many people are leaving. They get on trucks, and then they make it more difficult for us. In the camp, there are many, many children, and Rose, she plays with them. I tell her, be careful, because there are bad people here. But she is a child. She makes friends. She runs around. We eat the food that they give us. There are some kind people. There are some bad people. It is another place. And then, one day, there are people coming to say we cannot be there anymore, but we have nowhere to go. On the way, the papers, the passports, they have been stolen. We do not have a country. We do not have a name. And in the night, they send the wizards. And the wizards come quietly, and they come in a great mist. And the mist burns your eyes, and the mist burns your skin, and the mist is not friendly, and the mist is pushing down the little tents that we live in. And so we run from the wizards. And Rose, she is there crying and says to her teddy bear, why are they doing this to us now? And it hurts my heart so much to see her. And I know that I do not have enough money for us both to go. But my friend, she is going with her daughter. And I have enough money to send Rose. To send Rose away from the burning steam, from the mist, from the wizards. And so I tell her to be brave and to go with my friend, and that I will follow her very soon. And she looks at me and she gives me her teddy bear. Asim, she calls him. And she says to him, you will be looked after. And she looks into my eyes and she says, you must promise me, mother, that you will look after Asim. And I say yes. And she goes. And then somehow I managed to make enough money, not so long after, maybe I do not know, maybe a month or so, to go myself. And I have not had any word from Rose. But I know that if I will go to England, then I will be able to find her. I will find her. And so I go and I pay the trafficker and I get into the van and we hide and we have no air and we have no air and we have no air. And it is not a long journey, but I think I'm going to die. But I know I have come through too much. And then the door is opened and there are men there with guns. And they took me here. Yes, just outside the town, you know the place. The high walls. They say it is not a prison, but for those of us who are there, we know. And they gave me some papers, you know. They said that the dragons and the wizard, it was enough. That I am allowed to be here, so I can make vine leaves again. I can reunite Asim with Rose. But I do not know where to find her. I do not know.
آلاله میره تو که دست تکون میدی به ستاره جون میدی میسوزه شقایق از دار